Is creativity hereditary? How do you take a business built around one person's iconic vision into the next generation? Robert Welch Designs, whose cutlery and kitchenware are regarded as a cornerstone of British 20th century product design, has been run by the founder's two children for the last 20 years. The company still occupies the same Cotswold silk mill in which it started in 1955 and continues to practice traditional design techniques. But how has technology changed the business, and has the philosophy evolved with the next generation?
Robert Welch, my father, was a graduate of the Royal College of Art, and in 1955 he went to Chipping Camden and took the top floor of the old silk mill. He sat down on his very first day and he got his drawing book out and he asked himself a deep question. He said, "What now?" He wanted to bring good design, affordable design and everyday design to the mass market, and that really entailed revisiting everything, the materials used, and how he could find that way to bring products and mass production to people's lives. One of the days when he was in Scandinavia, he happened to be walking past a bank and he looked in a window, and there in the bottom left-hand corner were a few pieces of stainless steel tableware, and that was his eureka moment. He realised that that was the future and that's where he'd focus his energy, and the material was stainless steel. We're very fortunate at Robert Welch. We have 60 years of history which my father, Robert, kept, and he kept all his drawings, all his photos. I joined back in 1990. It's hard to believe I've been here 28 years. I worked with my father Robert for about 2.5 years, just getting a really good feel and an understanding of the business. And in 1993, I wrote this sort of first business plan and put thoughts down, and I think one of the most important decisions in that plan was to say we were to become masters of our own destiny. So Alice joined in 1995, really being our brand ambassador, the manager of how everything looks, how everything feels, as well as being very involved in development of products still. Throughout Robert's career, he loved to work both in hand and machine. The hand was the silversmithing and the passion to create beautiful artistic one-off pieces and actually work with the material and live and breathe it here in the mill. And John Limbury would often raise those pieces. With machine, in the industrial design of things, there's restrictions in what can be done and what can't be done. The two were very important for Robert. One, it gave him the artistic freedom to create these lovely pieces and keep alive his creativity, and the other was the industrial design, which allowed mass production, but also there were restrictions there, but also he find ways to push those boundaries. And then back in 2006, we bought our first 3D printer, and that was truly a big step change for the business. Suddenly we could realise many dreams. Just before my father passed away, we got a phone call one day from Pizza Express saying they're looking for a new range of cutlery. My father already had a new design on the drawing board and already modelled it, and the two fitted perfectly together. So we had the product produced in big volume, as you can imagine, for Pizza Express. My father wasn't very well at all. In fact, he was very, very poorly and he was in hospital. And when the production was ready, we had to make a decision whether we go to inspect the product or not inspect the product, but he insisted, even in his poorly state, that we go and see it and fly out to Asia and check the production. So we did that, came back and arrived at the airport, and literally we went straight from the airport to the hospital, and I had some samples in my hand, and my father was extremely poorly at that time, and I walked into the hospital and showed him his very first product with his name on it, and he sort of just about could see it, and he is sort of like a smile on his face, and then 2 hours later he passed away. So a real defining moment, and I always look back on it and like him passing the baton of the business over and saying, now I know there's a future. We have principles in the business, and those principles are from Alice and I, and we call them the Rob Welch DNA, and they're absolute key core principles that drive the business, and the business in everything we do. Everything we do, from a product, from it being functional, affordable, aesthetically pleasing and enduring, something that people can use for many years. My father was eminent knife designer, designing for a lot of companies. However, we wanted for our first time to do our own knife. And what did we want to do? The goal was to create one of the finest knives in the world. A knife that can be used every day, enjoyed every day, and easy to look after. So we experimented backwards and forwards until ultimately we created the signature knife. For many years, a bit like the signature knives, we have had a big idea. I want to say big idea, I mean it's sort of one of those ideas that you've got to find a way to go forward. And that was to do stainless steel hollowware collection that would embrace everything from teapots, coffee pots, wine buckets, wine coolers, coffee, all sorts of accessories for the table, that was both very, very serious, very functional for home and also for the hospitality market. We've won the Red Dot Award, we've won the IF Award, we've won the Good Design Award, we've won Excellence in Housewares Awards. We've also won the Queen's Awards, not one, but 2. Our father's sadly no longer with us. He passed away in 2000. But the business has evolved, and we're now a multi-million pound company operating out of Chipping Camden and the Radford building, which is mainly the warehousing and operations over in Evesham. And yes, the business has grown beyond all recognition, and I think it's safe to say if my father was still around, I think he'd be very proud of the evolution.